Chapter 3. Library of Accredited Free Knowledge and Instruction. LAFKI. The Library of Accredited Free Knowledge and Instruction is the collective mind of the populace, containing all of their knowledge. As the GEP is the active knowledge of their awareness, and the HVR is their static knowledge or wisdom, the LAFKI oscillates between these two as the sum total of all of this knowledge, and clearly communicates it to man. With its massive collection of unrestricted free knowledge, it aids the understanding of man in all subjects and applications, thereby enlightening his existence, purpose, and goals. This creates a populace wherein every individual is fully competent to wisely vote on all decisions of the GEP consensuses, resulting in a society whose greater harmony, meaningful social projects, and facilities consequently arisen out of the PHMC are the direct reflection of the desires of an entire people as a whole. This then allows man to create and discover even higher ideas for the future, continuing this synergistic cycle of healthy growth and evolution. See the diagram on the screen. A. Structure of LAFKI. Unlike the bogus and impotent Freedom of Information Act, LAFKI practices truly unrestricted freedom of information. It shall be made law that no entity, government, public or private, may withhold information from LAFKI, who represents all of the people, each of whom having unrestricted access to LAFKI data, save in war, see the 6M law, page 73. It is the right of each citizen to know all information within their society, being that a society is one unit which must work together. The only reason to withhold information is to keep others at a disadvantage. It is illegal in the individualistic society for any aspect of the government to withhold or make unclear any information, being that that information was had by using the people's money. Therefore, that information, by definition, is the property of the people. Furthermore, any just government is to be strictly of the people, again making all government information the property of the people. Any government that separates itself from the people in any way should be dismantled without delay for the sake of freedom. It shall be stressed that deceit, suppression, and dependence begin by withholding knowledge from one's fellow man. Thus, those who hoard and privatize knowledge and insights which the One has given them directly impede the evolution of mankind. The individualists begin empowering each individual by first overhauling the impotence of the present education system, from the elementary to the colleges. These shall be made more demanding and informative, focusing more on practical knowledge and detailed awareness, including but not limited to the mechanics of government, law, economics, etc., to make competent souls instead of corporate tools. Furthermore, all knowledge shall be readily available as a free digital database accessible to all at any time. LAFKI will thus dwarf the Library of Congress in their Thomas, an acronym for the House's Open Multimedia Access System, and World Digital Library of Congress, by being unrestricted and actively reaching out and communicating constantly with the people. The LAFKI section of the Populus Informer will actively include valuable methods of self-sustenance, self-creation, self-defense, and practical lessons on the newest breakthroughs in science and technology, etc. It will then refer the reader to databases where the details of the knowledge down to the equations and harvesting of the natural materials will be found. It will be written in an easily understandable method outlining the how and the why of the technology in question, with links to the history of its evolution, prioritizing the full comprehension of the average reader. This will create a thinking and involved society of scientific artists who by their very nature will be immune to the control of others and who will make wise decisions for their society in harmony with each other and God's creation. Furthermore, the public shall be made more aware of and encouraged to use public facilities such as libraries. These shall be broadened in scope in the spirit of individualistic free knowledge, active information distribution and teaching, becoming additional outposts for LAFKI instruction, which shall further assist the ease of access to this tremendous wealth of knowledge. Note: patents shall still be given, but the knowledge will be publicly usable. Too often, patents restrict the proper uses of knowledge. However, credits must be given to the patent holder and homage paid in the amount of 2% wholesale royalties to the individual for his work in attaining the idea. However, the patent holder may grant the use for anything less than 2% if so desired. 1. The Populus Media. The Populus Media acts as a completely free and independent balance to the GEP's researchers and to privatized media giants. It has a large portion of rotating volunteers in addition to its Populus paid staff, and is constantly monitored and directed by the consensus of the entire population, making it very difficult to become corrupt. Its media includes a paper, radio station, satellite and local where necessary, television channel, and cellular service, all of which, save for the cellular service, is accessible on the internet. The cellular service of the Populus Media not only gives inexpensive phone service to much of the population, but will serve as the foundation for a completely free global wireless internet system, allowing all of the world's knowledge to be accessible to anyone, at any time, anywhere on Earth. With the advancement of laptop computers, each individual will be able to carry all of man's knowledge with them wherever they go. More detailed information of Populus Media continues on page 115. 2. Populus Free Education. A. Populus Colleges. Besides the active distribution of free teachings via the many outlets of the Populus Media and the full database of LAFKI online, LAFKI also erects public colleges from existing community colleges in other buildings such as dismantled prisons. Unlike other media instruction, physical colleges can teach knowledge in hands-on applications. These colleges will only be erected at the request of the locality because, unlike online instruction, these facilities will have substantial operating costs in comparison. In the event of a locality without such a building, classes as these can still be taught at hosting facilities, such as a Populus fabrication shop, which would be able to hold all fabrication-oriented classes, or a Populus mine, which could host geology, prospecting, metallurgy, etc. All of these services would be free as the result of the amount of taxes previously allocated to the program, agreed upon by the people as a whole. If there is a demand for more hands-on classes as these, possibly exceeding the tax budget, it will be voted upon in the Populus Informer whether to increase taxes to hold more of such classes, or to have a certain percentage be paid for at cost by each student. The placing of a price on knowledge is another method to restrict the knowledge of mankind and thereby impede their evolution. The populace, therefore, maintains knowledge as free as possible, exacting the minimum fees allowable to make up the cost of the mediums used to transmit that knowledge. However, any individual who gets below average grades at these facilities must pay, at cost, for the next semester of the learning, because individuals as this are wasting the time and energy of this generous system and possibly taking the place of another who will excel. This minor penalty shall act as incentive for every truly appreciative student to excel. B. Populus Militia Colleges. There are two other LAFKI instructional institutions which both operate out of the PHMC. One is the chain of Populus Militia Colleges, and the other is the various Laborhoods. The militia colleges are the facilities which train every member of the society in defense of their person, locality, and nation, as well as a survival and paramilitary occupation such as citizen police. After the initial 2-year training is concluded, any citizen may return to the college for additional schooling but must re-enlist in the militia for another 2 years and thus hold a paramilitary occupation, in exchange for the additional free training. All of this information is indeed freely available from LAFKI. However, what one gains by trading in their personal time is expert, hands-on training and experience. C. Laborhoods. The Laborhoods are a place of learning for the mind, body, and spirit. The students are placed on a site in temporary, mobile housing and rise each day for class. Class is the teaching of the building of a homestead from the ground up. The entire project is pre-planned by the populace, from the number and types of houses in the proposed community to the project's location. It is carried out by the students at the direction of skilled instructors, tradesmen, engineers, architects, etc. The students are not only taught how to build an entire home, but to farm and to hand-build renewable energy devices. The materials needed are paid for by the populace as a loan to the students. When the project is complete, the student may move into the new homes that they built or leave them for the populace to sell at cost to a buyer. The only expense for the student is to repay the cost of the materials for the home and the accessories, only if moved into, as well as the room and board rendered during the time which they were learning. When this project is over, each student not only has a home, but the skills and knowledge of many trades to assist in the community from that day forward. The Laborhood will not only be used by curious students, but by those in need of a home. This remedies the act of government projects handing out housing to individuals who then have no understanding of the amount of effort and skill gone into the structure, and thereby possess no appreciation of the privilege handed to them. With this outdated method, the taxpayer pays for the home and then gets nothing in return. Conversely, with the individualistic laborhood, the populace lends the amount and is repaid in full within 5 years. Furthermore, those receiving the populace home through the Laborhood program at its completion are consequently endowed with great understanding of the entire construction process and possess many new skills. They are therefore competent contributors to their society either by employment within that society, excess production upon their own homestead, or teaching others the valuable skills which they have learned. They are not left incompetent and inept as in the dying world's system of housing handouts. For the elderly and the disabled, one of their able-bodied family members may sign on to a laborhood on their behalf. However, anyone going through a laborhood program cannot go through again to gain an additional home. Note, laborhood-built homes may not be rented under any circumstances, else one would make profit on the generosity of one's society. Anyone caught engaging in this activity will have the home confiscated and be sentenced as grand theft. Similar to the laborhoods are the populus conversion classes. Held at populus conversion facilities, they lend the student money to, hands-on, convert one's internal combustion engine-driven vehicle into a fully electric vehicle. They will also give a student a vehicle if the student has no vehicle for going through the class. The student can then repay the populace by whatever method chosen, especially volunteering for a labor force assignment and requesting to work at a conversion facility to hone the new knowledge acquired. As mentioned earlier, housing and transportation amount to 80% of all household debt and supply massive interest profits to the bank. Remember that interest is wasted energy. See page 47. Therefore, the laborhood eliminates one of the largest sources of energy waste in present society while simultaneously enlightening the people and strengthening the integrity of the Union. 3. The LAFKI Information Distribution Center, LIDC. As the GEP is responsible to collect and compile the people's will, the LIDC is the aspect of LAFKI which ensures the delivery of all information to the people so that they may wisely respond to the populace informer. The LIDC is responsible for the printing and delivery of the final version of the monthly Populus Informers via internet, post office, and various outlets of the Populus Media. The LIDC also allocates the people's end commands, final consensus responses to the Populus Informer, to the proper departments in a clear and organized manner for that department's efficient access and use, so as to execute the people's will immediately. B. Executive Departments Assimilated. 1. Department of Education. A. Federal Student Aid. Disbanded. Education is free in the individualistic society. If one chooses to go to a private school, one must fund it oneself. B. Institute of Education Sciences. Disbanded. Their motto is promoting education excellence for all Americans. Obviously, they are failing, for most Americans are insignificantly educated. The little research they conduct will be covered by the GEP. C. Office for Civil Rights. Disbanded. Being that there are no funds given for education because it is free, then there is no need to enforce compliance over such funds. Civil rights apply to all citizens in the nation, no matter where they are or what they are doing, and they shall be handled by the HVR. The 650 attorneys in this office, whether for good or ill, see much of reality as a quota to be filled, which can be used as a leveraging tool for various purposes. Any private institution may do whatever it desires on its own property, allowing or not allowing service to anyone for any reason. Such is freedom. Populous facilities, on the other hand, shall assist all equally. D. Office of English Language Acquisition. Disbanded. This is segregation. To teach and assist one group and not all groups equally is not equality. All languages are taught for free to all tax-paying citizens of the individualistic society. E. Office of Innovation and Improvement. Disbanded. This office is obviously failing in its innovations and improvements to the education system. The innovations and improvements LAFKI shall implement through all media in a short period of time will show the full extent of the incompetence of this department of the old world. F. Office of Intergovernment and Interagency Affairs. Disbanded. Quote, encourages public understanding and support for improving American education, end quote. Obviously, it is failing at its claims. LAFKI's free education system will solve all of these quote-unquote problems, mostly implemented to keep the majority at a disadvantage. G. Office of Management. Disbanded. Quote, performance and results, unquote, is the objective of the Department of Education's Office of Management. The result is that the performance of the children is as sheep, perfectly ignorant to the fact that the government is to obey them. Quote, The Office of Management is aggressively moving in new directions in support of the President's management agenda, end quote. That agenda is nothing but the stupefaction of the American people and is rapidly succeeding.